I am Sivarama Prasad, visiting faculty at IARE. Today we see some of the information about artificial intelligence and machine learning, CSD and SME. Today it is being talked in every field: artificial intelligence and data science and subject matter expertise, machine learning. These are all the different terms which have come into recent. If you just go back to the past, you find most of the things are manual and it's all skill oriented, and most of the times it is a direct real life experiences. And the more older, the more experience is considered as a knowledge bank. And so everybody used to go to that man and he used to serve all the people. And they used to serve all the needs, but they never got into the comfort zones. And it's all very low in technology. Though they could be able to serve or cater, but it is in a very limited way. It is not that they can serve anything or everything. And it is more of a human, and they used to share the happiness. That's all. It is a very contented, but it is a very joyful life. And from that past, we entered into the current. Current is totally different. It is in a different way. See, on one side, education, domain subject knowledge, and core subjects, they started taking dominating roles. And some specialist, subject matter expertise, that is new word, SME. And based on the real experiences, they gained intuition, and they used to run the industry. That is in a slow way, but slowly technology started taking role. And most of the things are machine oriented or technology oriented products. And services from value based, slowly we started moving to rule based services. That means if it is mentioned in the rule, yes, it is obliged. Otherwise, it is not in the scope of that. That means because it is a technology oriented, they have some limitations. And on the other side, slowly computers, data science, high-end technology, they started entering. And the business has become the major role, enthusiastic, competition, and always want to be the number one. And every time is growth, expansion. These are all the things which have started taking in. So with this, what happened is, most of the people's desires, conveniences started getting served. But there is still a sort of unfulfillment. Somewhere there is a small thing. Earlier, people were never thinking about desires and high-end comforts and all. So they never thought of this. So there were no experiences of that for the future to incorporate. And now, with the current practices, the future is totally different. That is very fast changing, different choices, and demanding, very unpredictable. This is on the industry side or life. Suppose if you take it a human being is always with thoughts, thinkings, and he'll be observing. There'll be a lot of movements. There'll be interactions. There'll be with systems, with machines. Everything is there. And if you see all these activities, they are more of see, talking, touching, hear, feel, or it is with the body, or with the mind, or with the brain, or simple, complex. Like that it is there. And mostly if you see, they'll be classified into two things. Body dominant with low level of thinking, or brain dominant, that means more intellectual and small body movements. This is how mostly the activities will be classified. And if you see the body movements, as far as work is concerned, you will see body movements. But when it is in the brain, when you are thinking, the body movements will be very less. And other things is safety. And when it is intelligence, that is where you will be observing or judging, wait and watch, like that. It is not activity with the body, but it is a thinking activity. And if you get into industry, earlier only one man was serving most of the things. Everything was there with the man. Knowledge, skill, or tools. And he is considered as a knowledgeable. So all others, they accept what they tell. When industry came, industry mostly operates on 4Ms, that is man, machine, material and methods. These things will be in combination, but they will be changing the importance at different times with a different degree. Most of the operations, they happen with machine or man skill. It is all mostly body dominating movements and very less in thinking. And it will be mostly on the functioning of the system and the marketing, like that. And the basic problem in this is when you are operating with body, with fatigue, with continuously doing or with recurring, repetitive works, it gets tired and the performance affects. That is one weakness when you are working more with the body. And when you get into other mode, that is subject and actions, that is where the material and methods and man as a specialist, he will be taking care. That means it is more of an intellectual thinking and less of a body movement. And this mostly operates for solving the problems or improving the issues with the subject knowledge. But what happens is when simple things are happening, it is okay. When you get into complex things, it gets into ambiguity, and when there are more variables, it starts becoming slow and the response will be poor and it may take more time, or sometimes you may get into a confusion mode. So with this expansion and you want to make the things unlimited, the old concepts were not sufficient. So we started looking at new concepts, new perspectives. So what it took is the current condition, it took it as an opportunity and it started exploring more and more possibilities, more options, more creative thinkings. So with this, what happened is instead of becoming a specialized or limited thing, it wanted to expand into more areas. So it has to handle which never happened or which is going to happen, but you want to sustain it. These are all the things which have become new things. With this has come, there is a need for the human skills in a better education, high skill, built up of new services, new cultures, everything. Because of this, what happened is we had to focus onto a different things, different education, different skills, different knowledge, different technologies. So it is broadly classified as conventional. Conventional considers domain subject knowledge, subject matter expertise, and business domain. These three things are the real subjects. Is a fundamental research or real life applications and feedbacks, improvements, and manufacturing application, new methods, new techniques, new technologies, all these things. And also touching the market and dealing with the customer, commercials. This is one area of expertise. Then unconventional. What happened is computers has come into the picture. They started working on the data and data specialist has become more and more important. And he starts creating programs, codes, combines a lot of other sciences and brought good insights from the data so that he started predicting or suggesting or giving some options. New things have come. Until now, human intelligence alone was playing the role. Because of these computers and data systems, artificial intelligence started coming into the picture. That is something like a man-made thinking. It is one more brain you are creating based on the data. See, here with human, we call it as habits. With computer, we call it as data and algorithms. And then you are creating a one more intelligence, which is almost replacing a man, if not totally, at least to some extent. Or it will support the human intelligence by speeding up or by giving some service which will help him to take the decisions when he is in a complex stage. And because of this, automation, computerization, which is the part to make the machine operate and avoid all the physical activities and repetitive activity. So this combination, it has created a different classification. When all these things are happening, human skill also has to upgrade, either update or new skill, high skill, or sometimes he has to de-skill some of the things. So this is how all the systems and people started moving it. At this stage, what happened is three new subjects have emerged. That is database management, statistics, and machine learning distributed in parallel. These are not related to the real core subject of the sciences, but it is a subject which is more of a logical algorithms, equations, and which creates a decision making through different means, not by this one. That means people started looking at the brain and taken all these subjects into the picture. If you see overall, computer science is a broad field. It has got a lot of things. And artificial intelligence, it is just creating a human behavior and intelligence into the machine. And machine learning, what it does is, it starts taking all the data. That means whatever a man is looking, that is seeing, hearing, visualizing, all these things machine learning will take. That means it replaces the human body elements of sensing, detecting, controlling, all these things. It will take it. And through the networking, that means whatever brain is doing, through deep learning, it will start doing it. These are the new subjects which have created totally a new outlook for the operations being handled in the market. And for this, the basic thing is data. Data is from the digital. That means as things are becoming more and more digital, a lot of data is there. And from the data, you are uncovering all the past experiences, and also you are diagnosing and creating it in some models based on which, like an astrologer with some science, with the data science, you started predicting things. And sometimes you give optimal things in that. This is on the subject side. Suppose if you see a man, generally man activities are related with the body, hands, outwardly, mind and heart, soul, inwardly. That means some features and functions you will see, and feeling experiences, emotions, memories, you will not see, but it happens. So basically, if you consider body dominant works with less thoughts and brain dominant work thoughts with less activities. So these two things, what happens is bodily movements, energy, strength, and force, all these things come into one area, and wisdom, intelligence, thinking, direction comes into one area. If you want to see in a kingdom for good administration or good life, Raja will have all the strength and Raja Guru will be there who will be feeding with all the intelligence and wisdom direction. It is something like that, brain dominant and body dominant. So most of the body dominant activities, they follow some instruction or some step by step or some regular recurring or always remembering it and getting it back. It follows a pattern. Whereas brain dominance, it is through observation and some decision making through some strategic thinking or judging. It creates some complex things. And sometimes it is reactive, sometimes it is proactive. So there will be a lot of ifs and buts, but human judgment based on the knowledge which it has, it takes a decision. Earlier, human intelligence, it was alone. That means a human body and intelligence, both are in the same person. He used to do everything. When things have become more, when human is not able to do the things, the body dominant works in the first level, body dominant works, repetitive works, started getting into machine automation. That means based on the data, based on the instructions, based on the step-by-step methods, scientific reasoning, computer started driving the machine through automation method so that human body movements, body activities have come down. And it also started taking some if, but, or some instruction, both interdependent, dependent, all these things started taking, which are low in brain. That means low thinking. They all become artificial intelligence. That means artificial intelligence and machine automation started taking human intelligence and body work in a major portion and left human intelligence with more of a judgmental, observing or close interactive works, some reactive works, such things it has left it. So finally what has come is industry has taken this as a major drive and taken human intelligence into one side, artificial intelligence and machine automation into one side. And both have started creating supportive roles. Machine supporting man, man supporting machine. So that industry has become big. Unlike the earlier manual, it has started getting into an unlimited area of work. So man and machine interface has become one main subject, and man with a domain subject knowledge, he becomes a specialist and he will be looking at different thinkings, different past experiences and different experiments. It has become as a human intelligence. So these two have become a clear-cut different roles. So artificial intelligence is taken care by industry and human intelligence is taken care by the development of the man. So in the process, what happened? Human intelligence, it is a simple one. And when artificial intelligence started taking more and more drive initiatives, it started supporting the human intelligence to make human work for better things. It is not a competitor, it is a supportive role. So that all the repetitive works and what you call as laborious things, it is left to artificial intelligence and he started taking very high-end works. So it has become human brain. Generally people say we are using the brain very less. So all the work-oriented things are given to artificial intelligence. And in the process, artificial intelligence made like a man-made thinking power. That means it started thinking on its own with data support, with data specialist programmings, and it started taking the human intelligence into its processing. So that is how it started taking more and more influence onto day-to-day regular things. And in this process, data science is the major thing which started giving that support to the artificial intelligence. Because from the subject knowledge, from the experiences, from the events, from the happenings, the data is being converted into a decision making, that is a program or a rules or some input output equations. It started getting into that. So what happened with the old data, when this mathematics, statistics, and hypotheses, all these theories, they started giving clear cut decisions, so that it started giving options to follow. So it has helped man also. So what happened? All the data today, it has become the worth. Once upon a time, the energy, another time it is a mind power, and then today the data. How much data you have, you are so much wealthy. It has become data wealthy. And what it actually does is something like an astrologer. It predicts from the old data, and it starts extrapolating to the future with some assumptions and some likelihood happenings or some recommendations to the new event, and it will forecast some of the things, and it will classify some images, text and all, and it started creating a new world of information that is based on our past and based on our behaviors, based on our thinkings, and based on how we are currently dealing. It started predicting our future. It is in a way, it is very good for the industry, because industry always wants to work with predictions, not unprediction. And machine automation, what it is doing is, it is application of machines. That means once already you have performed any activity, it gets into its memory. Suppose it is never performed, it is impossible. That also you will program, and you will start making it. If you see automation or these activities, you will see more in cooking. Once upon a time, it is pure man. It is purely a man-oriented work. Then it has gone into scientific methods, and it has gone into a step-by-step method, so that by reading you can start making it. When you can read and do, why not directly with a robot or with a machine? So machine learning, machine automation is slowly changed the man working into a machine working. It can be with a program, it can be flexible, or with a speech, or with image. Lot of things have started coming into the machine learning. But what happens is, in all these cases, the subject expert is the first man who will really focus on the problem, or focus on the regulations, focus on the solution. So he will give it. Once he gives it, the machine learning algorithms, they will take it the upper hand. That means they start working on the permutations and combinations, and they will get into a model, and that model you can apply it for other things also. It is something like, if this happens right, a similar one also can happen in the same way. Based on that, it starts working. Suppose there is any abnormality is noted, then that abnormality will be considered and as a feedback, and they will start doing it, some more improvements on that. Like that, the machine starts learning what a human is doing. With this modeling and deploying, it has become a big subject. And considering all these things into effect, we started creating a basic programming or basic algorithms. All these things started getting into a major focus. Really speaking, entire thing you can explain it in a simple way. Suppose you take a cooking. It was expertise of a chef. What he really does, if you go deep into the subject, it is split into first raw materials. So automation, artificial intelligence, what it calls it as data. The ingredients is raw material. So you consider that as a data. Then second one is Once you get the ingredients, you start preparing for it. That means washing it, cleaning it, or cutting it, and making it a sizable thing, or preparing it for ready for next activity of cooking. So this is where the data engineering is doing all the preparation works. Then comes the real cooking, that is boiling or frying, whatever it is. Here, it is the main subject. For example, rice. It has to cook means it has got its own natural process. That is, it takes so much time, so much temperature, so much moisture, so much water that is required. It cannot just like that do it. Same way potato or vegetables or any other item. They have got their own internal process. Same thing is machine learning algorithms. That means the real cooking techniques, frying or boiling or half cooked and then boil it or take it into water and make it into a mixture. These are all the techniques of cooking. It is in real sense machine learning. Then comes hardware and software architecture. That is cooking utensils. Just like that, you cook rice means there has to be some vessel, there has to be some stirrer, there has to be some tools. That is getting into the hardware and software. So all these things are just a correlation and which is being adopted into this artificial intelligence and machine learning and this domain knowledge, it again comes from the expert. That means subject, without the subject you cannot do all this. A subject is very important. That means the core subject expert is always required and he only guides, but his speed is limited, whereas machine speed is higher and it expands into a better thing. So that is where the machine is coming into picture. So this expertise plus application, both have started working together. And along with this, some languages. And the third one is business. After doing all these things, how it has to serve, how it has to go, what is the next way forward. So all these things are required and you should become expert to make it a successful project. So this is how generally the data science with all the knowledge, it transforms everything, but it is backed up with core subjects, whether it is maths or whether it is science or whether it is engineering or whether it is pharma or medical. Core subject is the background and data science processes it and then brings it into artificial intelligence through deep learning and machine learning. That is how it brings it to create a man, a brain equivalent to a brain. What it does is, if it is a traditional programming, you give input and you will start programming, then you get output. Whereas in machine learning, it is not so. You know input, you give input, and you know output, you feed output, and then you create rules for that. And once the rules are created, through rules you enter and you will get output. That is what is new input is given and already learned program, that is the rules and programs is there, and you infer output, and this inferred output you extend it to the human who can take a better decision when he was taking decisions without all this. Today he can take better decisions. And if you see, it is not that everything is good or everything is limitless. It has got its own some points where you have to be very clear. That is, artificial intelligence, it is a man and machine interface. Whereas human intelligence, it is a man and domain subject knowledge. When it comes to working, machine can work without fatigue and it can record the memory, it can recall any time. There is no loss of memory unless equipment goes, or it will work to a program. If you give a program, it will always work with that. And There are some difficulties if it is a non-assigned one. Suppose you have not given a program, and if you have given input, it gets into a confusion mode. Or suppose if it is any surprise, it will not be able to handle. And if it has to master everything, you have to feed too much of data or too many things you have to give. Sometimes it may be difficult. And it is always working on a logical conclusion. And it doesn't take liking, disliking, or preference, postpone, conflicting priorities. These things generally it will not take unless you program it very specially. And to make it a successful one, a subject matter expert is always required. And always he should verify and validate so that they will not be in trouble in regular work. And when it is in a data oriented, sometimes there are some problems with privacy and secrecy or confidentiality. And today it is a very high cost mode. But when it is open to large fields and everywhere, then it can come down and it opens up a very big market. And in a way, if you see, it is like reflecting a game of assumptions based recorded match. That means more or less it goes like a cinema. That means a director controls it. Whereas in a human intelligence, it is purely based on the subject knowledge and what it is coming to the time at that time. And also it can act difficult things and it can act on multiple intuition level, some different way of thinking, creation, innovation, and emotional, sentimental things it can take care. Some favoritisms, disfavoritisms it can take, and it can handle abnormalities. And even if things never happen, it will start giving some solutions. This is how there are differences. And it is like a natural game with human capabilities. So when you are using it, you should be judiciously, you should work on that. You should not work on limitations and make it as a weak one. You think of the similarities and differences and take it in a proper way. Take the help. And where artificial is good, where human is good, you have to differentiate and take it. And in the similar way, when it is a subject matter, statistics dealing with single variable or multiple variable or double, triple, or sometimes communication, is it audio or visual or facial expressions, soft skills or intended, unintended, intuition or different things are there when you are dealing with a man. Such things, how the data or machine learning takes, it depends on the man who has programmed it. And sometimes you may take abnormal or invalid strategies which are not bookish. So at that time, you have to be very careful. And access to others, being a machine, anybody can access it. And sometimes it may be confidentiality issue also. But all these things depends on the programmer. What is the knowledge of the programmer? What is the knowledge of the specialist who is dealing? Is it wiser or a trained one? Or is it motivated or disciplined? Or is he in a good mood or not good mood? So based on this, the program will be made. After that, yes, it will work as per the program. Sometimes the context with which some people take decisions is different and machine takes a different decisions. These things you have to be careful. It is not that you should not use it, but when you're dealing with such things, you can take the support, but doesn't mean that you have to follow as it is, based on the context and also based on the situation. A human can take or differ on the decisions of artificial. At that times, you should not just go blindly with this. So when you are normally working, how you work, first if anybody idea tells, the man with an intuition, he thinks it is a valid one or not valid, or is it mind or not. Or then he will start interlinking and then he will start doing validation. Then a trial, then some modification, upscaling or production. Like that it goes. So the first step of intuition, the data has to be very clear. And in this case, always a data expert and subject expert, they have to work very closely when they are preparing these programs. What to do, what not to do, understand why it is doing, why or how it happens. If it happens, what you have to take corrective action. All these things you have to put it. Because in automation mode, sometimes there is a risk if it runs into a different format. So the total strength or success, the capability, it depends on the man of subject matter and data specialist who are created. It is not that only data specialist or it is not that only subject matter. So when you are making this, what it really does is, who is using this? Is it an amateur or is it expert? Is it an emergency or it is just a managing? So these three things you have to be very careful when you are deciding to make it a success. So with all this background, what happened is, from one man doing many, it has become many people supporting to do one. That is, when things are very simple, man can do. Whereas when complexity is increasing, when complications are increasing, he started taking help of a machine. And slowly, with the machine, he started taking the help of systems. And now, he started taking the help of data. If you see in the olden days, astrologers has to make a lot of workings and then used to tell what is the prediction of future. Later on, what happened? All this manual working, he has put it into computer. So computer started doing the work and then predictions started giving. But what happened? Later on, he started working with other areas also, matrimony, matchmaking, marriage event, all these things. Now it has become a big subject. Once upon a time, which was very small, it has become a very big. Like that, one by one, he started getting into this. So from simple things, when you have to do complicated things, you have to take the help of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and then, but when you're offering it, it has to be through one. That is why the best of all the things is considered and combined. What is that? Domain subject is the best one to solve the problem. That means subject knowledge. Then machine is very good in handling repeat works and also iterative works and fatigue, memory and all. So machine help is taken. Systems and software, they are very good in doing speed. That means different equations, different applications and clarity and response it can give fast. And it can be made user friendly also. So all these things are combined. Now they started giving it as a single one. That is core subject and machine in one group, computer systems and data in one group, business and customer as one group. With these three groups, they started taking every field. There is no limit. It is not considered mechanical, civil, electronics or computers. No, it is now any subject matter coupled with data scientist. He can create a market. He can create a solution. He can create a domain of his own. And only thing difference is which is front end, which is back end. Sometimes subject becomes front end. Sometimes application becomes front end. And mostly application takes care of the front end. and back end is taken care by the subject. That means who really solves the problems. With this concept, it is emerging into a totally new one. Just to see some of the changing phases of subject and technology. In olden days, there used to be quiz. That quiz was only handled in schools. Later on, it became a TV show by one Mr. Siddhartha Basu, who has done a marvelous thing and created a very big show in TV. Today, with the media, with the technology, with the data, it has become a karodpati. That means it has changed the game itself. It has brought life to many businesses, which there was no business at all when it was a quiz program in the olden days. Today, it has become a big show and it is creating crores for not only for the contestants, also for the surrounding agencies. Same way story. Once upon a time, it was just a book and only people used to give lectures. Today, TV programs, cinemas, and lot of small CDs. It has grown into a big one. Even the habits, even the dance, which was very artistic, which is music, dance. Today, if you see, same Bharatanatyam is being performed in cinema with a different concept. That is 1, 2, 3 steps they start making. Then it gives a different, same replica of Bharatanatyam, you will see it here, more or less. It is not that it is better or good, but they could be able to almost bring it to here. All these things are through computer, software, and data, and controlling it through a different method. Like that, it all happened. And mostly, more than the subject, the service applications were very quick to adopt this. If you see in different front end and back end, you see in games, batsman is the man who runs scores and his performance is on the front end, but the coach is at the back end who is really training it. To win the match, batsman is required, but is backed up by a team and also the coach. And in a movie also, hero is lively action, performance is based on that, but the producer, director, they are acting on the back end with the real subject, that is the story, the direction, each event directing that. So performance is by both, and you are getting the sustainability because of the both. That means front end, back end. These two things now they started moving hand in hand. Whether it is a cook or function or automobile design, body features, they take it into the front end. But the real engineering is on the back end. And what is catching the business? The front end is catching. That is marketing, styling, features. And product and service, it is the performance. Once you buy the vehicle, if it is not performing to the expectation, then the sustainability will occur. So, sustainability and getting into the new business is two real features which have to be taken. If you see in the doctors, that means medical also, doctor is the man who is really treating the patients, but it is the hospital support service which is really catching the patients. It is not that a good doctor. Hospital has to be good. Otherwise, even if the doctor is good, sometimes if he is not having a hospital or services, facilities, he will not be able to do the justice. So what happened? The front end, back end, core subject, application subject, and the subjects getting into a different field. This has become the major area. It has gone. Those days of I am mechanical engineer, I am electronics engineer. Those days have gone. Today, you have a subject. Which subject you have, which application you are doing, and which market you are going to address it. So industry has created different choices, different services, and the people can select as per that. But normally what happens is industry, it always wants to drive the market. It never wants to follow. If it is following, it becomes difficult to serve the market. So when you want to drive, certainty and predictability is the major thing. And you cannot work on uncertainties, unpredictable or emergencies. If it is unexpected, unpredictable, what you can do? You have to sit there and wait for the customer. When the problem comes, then you start doing it. That is only repair work. And repair work also today, if you see, he will be always flooded with all the spares so that when a customer comes, he can immediately fit and send it. Otherwise, if customer comes, if he has to order the spare, then get the spare, fit it, it takes a long time. So nobody is there to wait for such time. So when you want to expand, you have to be very proactive. You cannot be reactive. And you have to be very predictable. And you cannot run on unpredictable. And you have to be very certain when you want to invest. And when you have to drive, and you cannot follow. So all these things, what it makes is, you have to take a calculated risk. You cannot just gamble in an unpredicted or fast changing market. So all these things, it has made what it has made. That means artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science to be the major driving for industry. And this A and ML, which is getting support from the subject. So subject has become, once upon a time which was on the front end, it is gone into the back end. And both have to work together. That has become the part of life. And what happens is technology is driving, and it has given a lot of options to the people, so they can select. But every choice, every selection is designed by the industry. So industry is ready, sometimes immediate, sometimes with some small delay, but it is always ready with the product. That's how the industry has become, the market has become driven by the industry with all this backup. So finally what happened is, subject matter is the real performer. It is only giving the solution. And if it is alone, it has got a very limited scope to grow. It cannot grow, more or less. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to grow also. It can only little expansion. That means only to the extent of small levels, not abnormal growth. And subjects are very critical in solving. But when it comes to the application, they are not very good. So they have to take the help of some application expert. That application expert is this data science or data specialist. So subject matter man has to take the help of data scientist to get a good connect with the customer. That's why CSD always supports to catch the business and open up the opportunities for SME. So if CSD alone is there, it is good connect. But when it comes to serving the purpose, if he is not having the support of the domain subject, it will not sustain. It may not be able to live long. That's why what happened is, SME cannot grow without CSD. CSD cannot be successful without SME. Ultimately, both have to jointly work. And that is for the new generation of the new business generation, and also to sustain for a longer period, so that they can offer a very good system to the people. And sometimes what happens is, with this lot of technology, it may take the customer into, or in the user or the application man into a different complexity level. So at that time, just don't blame the limitations, but understand its strength and try to master it so that you can control it and use it for the real purpose. Suppose you have a horse. If you cannot control, you cannot blame the horse. If you learn the art of controlling the horse, you can travel to a long distance fast and also happily. In the same way, SME should learn CSD, CSD should learn some SME, so that when they are working together, it is beneficial to the society. And in a long run, please remember, You as a single man cannot exist for a long time. And without you, I am not there. Without me, you are not there. And both of us are existing. And if you don't want to exist, then means both of us cannot exist. That's why always collaborate and live for a better tomorrow. This is how, this is mainly to give not about artificial intelligence or machine learning subjects, but it is to show that the core subjects strength, how it supports the artificial intelligence or computer science or data scientist, and how they help subject matter expert to increase the market or increase the industry and serve. So both when they work together, it helps the industry and also it helps the people who are living. This is mainly to show that there is nothing big, nothing small. At times, one becomes big, one becomes small, but both are required. Both will get their chance to enjoy, and they can make it world a better place than earlier. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.